Tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
All right, man, you asked for it, you get it, man. By special request, by literally everybody, all the swamp. They're like, when's he's gonna be back? Well, boom, he's back. Please welcome back to the studio, my man, Eddie Bravo. How are you, Eddie?
Yo, I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Eddie, it's great to see you. I don't get to
see
see you enough. Everybody, when everybody gets kids, they're just running all over the place. And but man, it's always a pleasure to chop it up with you and get back into the doing some live shows. Man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man, we're gonna me, that guy right there,
XG,
and he's gonna be joining us as well. We're gonna be having a live show in Long Beach. Tickets are moving quick on that. That's January 28th, right? And then on the 29th, the three of us will be in Bakersfield.
Hell
Bake
yeah.
Town, ready to go.
Hell yeah.
Got any new bits you've been working on? You ready to rock?
I got a couple ideas. You know what's funny is I had this fucking idea and then I saw it on the it turned out to be a meme later and I'm like, fuck. Now I just blew my bit. I'm like, fuck.
Do it anyways, dude.
Yeah. You
I
think
mean,
so?
listen, man, there's so much data coming out. Things are going to touch.
Yeah.
As long as you didn't hear another comic say it, that's
Yeah.
my rule.
Okay.
As long as you didn't hear another comic say
And
it.
this is something that I've been writing it out,
Write
and then
it
I
out.
see a meme that's pretty much like it, and I'm like, fuck.
Write it out,
God
dude.
damn it.
Write it out, man.
Okay.
Write it out. Dude, I'm watching this Beatles thing, right, about them breaking down. I mean, like,
So amazing.
they were, like, what's it called? Let It Be?
Get
Back.
Yeah,
Get back.
That's a documentary?
Oh, about
Brand
the
new?
Beatles?
Brand
It's
new?
so fucking good, dude. What's it on? Apple?
No, it's on Disney Plus.
It's so good, dude. But anyways, like they use influences from all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, if they heard somebody say something popular, boom, they turned it into a song. So the point is, do it on
Okay,
stage, dude.
okay,
Do it on
okay.
stage. So yeah, just go to samtripoli.com, grab those tickets because they are moving quickly. And it's good to get back in the sale with my boy. I'm very excited to have our guest on, Eddie. Eddie's like, dude, we gotta talk. This guy's been going through some crazy shit. He had to uproot his family out of fucking communist Canada and to come to the United States. And here he is. Very excited to talk to him. Please welcome to the Tinfoil Hat, Drew Weatherhead. How are you, brother?
I'm doing great, man. It's a pleasure to be here. I've been listening to your stuff for a long time. I got to meet Eddie not too long ago. And just like you're saying, man, I kind of gave him a piece of my story. And it's like, we got to get you on a podcast.
So I'm super excited to have you on. Thanks for joining us. Why don't you, before we start, tell us a little bit about yourself, in particular, where our listeners can find you.
Yeah, so a lot of people know me online through my meme page, of all things. I run the largest jiu-jitsu-based meme page on Instagram called because_jitsu, if you check that out. And then, like, besides that, I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I got a bunch of, like, instructional stuff online as well. You can follow my personal stuff at drew.weatherhead on Instagram. That's mostly where you can find me.
That's awesome. Your story's very interesting. Eddie brought it up to me, man. I was born in upstate New York, and I was very close to the Canadian border all the time. And, man, I would just look across the border in Niagara Falls and be like, dude, Canada is magical, man. And I used to love to go to Canada and do stand-up comedy. I still do. I love Canadians, man. The most conservative Canadian is like pretty like, I would say like middle liberal, in the United States. Like, you go to their malls, they got like a gun range and an adult bookstore. Like, they're pretty open-minded, right? They can laugh at a lot of stuff. Grew up loving Canada, and then just like to a point where you go, hey man, Canada has really got their act together. I wish the United States could kind of get on that page as well.
Totally.
right? You're
They
like,
say that about Canada and Australia.
Right?
Like, look at Canada. Look at Australia. They don't have guns.
Yeah, yeah.
And look at them.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, now look at them.
Look at
now,
last,
what's
right?
going on now, dog?
And then this thing just came, and blackface Trudeau, or should we call him blackface Castro, right? Fucking just goes into lockdown. And it is really scary how quickly things changed.
Yeah, you know, my entire life as a Canadian, I never really saw the big difference between Canadians and Americans outside of saying A and eating poutine. Like, we were pretty much the same thing until it came down to the actual application of law under duress. And this is like the first time in my life where it's been so palpably obvious, the difference. And really what it comes down to is this thing you have called the Constitution that you people actually really, really believe in, and your government has a real hard time touching. We have something up in Canada that's similar to that. It's like Constitution Light. It's like Diet Constitution, called the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It sounds very official and like it's really going to help out. The thing is that it turns out when you really need it, the government can just literally turn that shit off.
Yeah, it is crazy. And we just had a big thing right now. It's like there's always this time where I'm like, man, the Constitution's amazing, but we're just one group of judges away from them burning that whole motherfucker down, right? So Biden goes to the Supreme Court, and I'm like, if this Supreme Court says, yeah, you could do mandates, like, what is stopping them from just burning down the Constitution? It is so close. It is so razor thin to this small group. How many Supreme Court justices? Is it 8?
9.
9 Supreme Court justices, right? To just them flip. And then you had the one Latina Supreme Court justice just blatantly, I don't know if she meant to lie. Maybe I shouldn't use the word blatantly, but straight up lying about what was going on with COVID and children. Yeah. And she got her dick kicked in by everybody going, no, that's not true, man. You're lying about that. And like, which was kind of crazy, man. And then they struck down this thing. But man, the Constitution's amazing as long as we have the judges that will enforce it. Because there's times I'm like, do we just live in a banana republic? Like, where it's like these judges are not enforcing these laws, which are so blatantly obvious. I mean, do you ever get worried about that?
Every day. Hell yeah. You don't know what the fuck's going to happen, man. Shit. You have no idea what's going to happen.
So this shit goes down, these lockdowns happen, and the thing that happens with Canada is like, and Canadians tell me this all the time. They go, the difference between Canada and the difference between the United States is I can't go to a different part of Canada to live under a different set of rules. Canada is Canada across Canada.
That's right. Yeah, that's something that was really, really obvious while we were getting locked down, because we had like this little view into the States through the internet, and we could see that it was very different state to state. They were very autonomous at the state level, whereas up here, even though there's different provinces that are all under the Fed really runs it as one big homogenous thing. Like whatever Trudeau says kind of just matriculates down to every province, whether they like it or not. Because I was in Alberta, which is basically like the Texas of Canada. It's where all the oil and cows are. Yeah. And we got like the most fuck you energy of any province up there. And maybe we were the last to capitulate, but eventually we did. We even had like a really right, Jesus, what's the word? It's, I've been down in the States too long. I'm losing all of my terminology. I want to say governor, but he's essentially the governor, premier. He's a premier. So that's our governor for the province. And he was like very for the people, and we're going to make sure you keep your rights, and we're going to keep your businesses open. And then just eventually he decided no. And it just came out of nowhere. And it feels like Trudeau just kind of leaned on him a little bit and just broke his back. And ever since then, he's just been in lockstep with whatever they say.
It is crazy. It is crazy how this COVID thing has completely and utterly like taken all the punk rockers and just exposed them for frauds. Like, you're not anti-establishment, okay? Yeah. You're anti, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you're against a narrative. You're not against actual people. You're against the concept of the establishment. You're not actually against the establishment. Like there's so many of these blue checkmark people that are just on this, Jesus Christ, on the side of government and big pharmaceuticals. Whether it comes with its vaccine or January 6th, it's unbelievable to me. And it blows my mind how they don't see the mental jujitsu that they're doing to get to this narrative where it's like, let's take January 6th, right? Oh my God. The year leading up to that was like BLM, Antifa were against the system and they're burning middle class and lower class businesses, right? And everyone's like, they're raging against the system. But on one day, January 6th, a violent coup d'etat started at noon and was done by 6 p.m. Because that's how government overthrows go, right? It's done by dinner time. The cops are like, okay, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Wrap it up. Go, and everybody did. But that's the worst thing ever. I don't care who you talk to. You talk to people on the left, the progressives, they're like, the system is fucking broken. It is oppression. It is a systematic racism, sexism, and every ism out there. Okay, so let's march on the fucking government. Oh, dude, that's not how we do it. We're going to vote our way out of it.
Yeah.
And you're like, what are you fucking talking about? Anybody got any thoughts on this, or am I just going to yell for an hour?
Hey, I agree with everything you're saying, man. It's crazy.
It's like, it's unbelievable how you can completely be on the wrong side of everything the whole fucking time.
The craziest thing is this whole scamdemic has been held up by statistics and the numbers, the two numbers.
Yeah.
Cases and deaths, those numbers. And I think the cases, I don't know what the cases are, but the deaths, I think 800,000, 900,000 or something like that. Something like that, 800, 900K. But once the CDC and the WHO admitted that the test where we got all this data from can't tell the difference between corona or, they're all coronaviruses, COVID, the flu, A and B, influenza A and B, and the common cold. Once they admitted that, once you go, oh, guess what? The test that we've been using this whole fucking time can't tell the difference between COVID and the flu. Right there, case dismissed. Boom! Drop that. Case dismissed, dog. Like everything goes out the window. Like if we were in court and let's say the government was gonna try to take you down and they were accusing you of spreading misinformation about the scamdemic, and all you were doing was talking about the numbers, and these numbers ain't right. As soon as the judge, assuming in a fantasy world that this court, in this fantasy court, fantasy judge, fantasy jurors, they were all, on the side of justice, right? And they're trying to do the right thing. Nobody's compromised. A real, legit court. As soon as the judge hears, they go, wait a minute. They look over at the prosecution. Go, wait a minute. This test where you got this, they're accusing you of fraud, and this test can't tell the difference between COVID and the flu? Case the fucking dismissed. 100%. Case the fucking dismissed. What are you talking about? What are you talking about when people say, oh, but I have an uncle that died of COVID. Oh, my boss's brother died of COVID. You don't know. You don't know. I know people who I got COVID last. You don't know. You don't know if you had COVID. You have no idea. Because the CDC just said the test can't tell the difference. 100%. So how are you going to say your uncle died of COVID or your brother died of COVID? Nobody fucking knows. The CDC said that. As soon as they said that, boom, it's over. Just drop all this shit. Like, how do we keep going? How do we keep going?
In 2021, where they said that the flu was gone. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Just in Canada.
Yeah.
They came out with this news story saying that COVID is on the rise. It's on the loose. We can't stop these numbers from climbing. Oh, by the way, we haven't had a flu case all year. Nothing to see here. Yeah. I remember seeing that. Like, wait a minute, can we back up a sec? Because as far as I'm aware, I've only been alive for 38 years at this point, so maybe I got a short view on this, but we've always had a seasonal flu every single year. And then this one time we're all like, we're going to kind of pretend to stay inside. That's all it took to destroy it. It's gone forever. And now it's like, well, it's back, guys. Sorry, the next year. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, there's basically three theories, right? There's the bat theory. It came from a bat, and then boom, it spread all over the world. Or and the evil scientist theory. Evil scientists in a Wuhan virus lab leaked it. Bioweapon. So they want everyone arguing between those two. And the third one is, dude, this is just the flu that they rebranded. Right? There's three. But since there's like these emails with gain of function, Fauci sending money to this virology lab in Wuhan, everybody's like that. Like everyone's like, that's the conspiracy. Yeah. No, but it's not. This is what I think. Yeah. This is what I think. Just because they're sending money to a virology lab doesn't mean it's not being used for other shit like they always do. You think NASA's really using $20 billion a year to look at stars and shit? You really think so? I don't think so. I think like let's look into that money. So there's just three theories: bat, evil scientist, sci-fi movie, or did you guys just rebrand the flu? Is that all you did? And then people are like, how could they possibly do it? I don't know what's going on. I'm going to make that clear. I don't fucking know. I just go by common sense. Common sense, right? So, like on the streets, it's all about common sense. There isn't no fucking illogical shit on the streets. On the streets, it's all common sense. Can you imagine you go to your cartel lord and you say, boss, turns out this test we've been using for our Coke to see how much fentanyl's in there? He goes, yes. Turns out the last 2 years, the tests were bunked. They can't tell the difference between fentanyl and Coke. On the streets, there would be heads in suitcases. Right? They wouldn't just let that shit go. On the streets, they wouldn't let that shit go. So, you just think about all the things. Like, what is it? Those three? Is it a bat, evil scientist, or they just rebranded the flu? And then you start taking all these different. You go in the timeline. Like January 20th, the CDC and the WHO says, "Hey, guess what? Don't set these PCR tests at 40 cycles anymore. They give out 95% false positives. Bring it down to 28 cycles." You're like, wait a minute, we went the whole fucking 2020 on 40 cycles?
Right.
On the streets?
Right.
Yeah. Your head's in a bucket of cement, and they just throw it into the riverbed. Yeah. Right?
And it's not even on the streets. If you were in a corporation, you'd be fired. You'd be
of course.
Done.
These are just common sense. What you're telling me, the day Joe Biden gets inaugurated, it turned out, like, who knows how these tests even run? But I don't know how the 40 cycles, 20, but it's a fact. They said it, CDC and the WHO, at 40 cycles, 95% false positives. Yeah. What does that do to the overall number that they're using? What does that do? Yeah. What does that do? Yeah. And when you say your uncle died of COVID, did you know that was it at 40 cycles? Because that's 95% false positive. That's why you had all these guys testing positive, and they weren't even sick. They're like, I guess I got COVID, but I ain't sick. You know what? Because it's 95% false positives.
It's like everyone's like, people are dying. I'm like, hey, man, when was the time that nobody died? Where is that period of zero death?
Yeah.
This has never happened. People die. And it sounds really cold, but it's like what you're doing is protecting people that are super vulnerable by destroying everybody that's fucking healthy's chances of making a living and living their life.
And everybody knew, everybody knows, you find this shit out in the second grade, that when your uncle or your grandma, they're fucking sick as hell. They got cancer. They're fucking crippled. They're on their last legs. What's gonna take them out? A fucking cold. Yeah. The flu takes them out. Pneumonia takes them out. Everybody knows that. And that's common. Everybody knows that.
Natural causes.
Yeah, but they never put the flu as cause of death. Like the coroner's never gonna go, he died of the flu. No one's gonna say that. They died of cancer or diabetes or whatever the fuck they had, right? So that's where like the fraud comes in, right? The fraud comes in. Like, can you imagine how many? Because right now it's 60 to 80,000 people a year die from the flu without comorbidities, with just straight flu, just fucked them up. 60 to 80,000. What would that number be if they counted flu as the cause of death for people that had a comorbidity like cancer? Dude, there would be like millions of people a year dying of the fucking flu, right?
I totally agree.
But they don't ever put that as the cause of death, even though that's what took them out. That's how they manipulated the numbers. And there's plenty. I mean, it's a fact that no matter what you died of, if they tested you with the PCR test at 40 cycles, 95% false positive, they got a COVID death. And then you're like, oh shit, does that information help out the case for the bat, the case for the evil scientist, or the case that you just rebranded the flu? That's a rebranded the flu, right? That's right.
But what it really does is give that hospital more money. That's the reason.
No, there's more. There's more. Then you look at more. Then when you find out that hospitals were getting paid on COVID admissions.
Dude, COVID admission, every step of the way
step of the way.
To death, there was a paycheck.
Yes.
It's like, pretend it's a game show, right?
Yeah.
And every level of the game show you're on, there's more money if you succeed, right?
Yeah.
It's like, basically, COVID was The Price is Right.
Yeah.
For fucking hospitals, right? If you go down and you're on fucking bidding alley or whatever they call that thing, and you get that right, you got COVID. Cash, right?
Yeah.
Now you go up, now you're at the next level. What do we do here, dude? You win that thing. Boom. You got that? More cash. Okay, now somebody's hospitalized, right?
Yeah.
Right? So now the next level is you and everybody else are spinning the wheel. You win that. More cash. You put them on a fucking ventilator, right? Now, and then the final one is they fucking die.
Yeah.
You get more cash.
You think
every step of the way there was an incentive for them to lie. Hold on one second. And what people don't understand is the last people that are going to give up this narrative is the health industry, because they are cashing checks every step of the way. On Lancashire, I drive by, dude, they have a testing place that is busy 24/7. The people dress like they're at Chernobyl, okay? The people doing the test are dressed like they are fighting nuclear radiation.
Yeah.
And it's all theater to cash checks.
I just sent Johnny a video. Can you play that real quick? This is exactly what we're talking about. People think we're crazy. It's a video of someone explaining how hospitals get paid.
Yeah.
Check this out.
I mean,
Drew, sorry about this. This is how we just yell at each other.
Do you think they
I'm
used
down for it,
any of
man.
that money that was supposed to be for ventilators?
No, dude.
No, obviously cashing more checks.
They don't realize, man, putting them on ventilators was like
The worst thing you could do.
the worst thing you could do. Here we go. Listen to this.
So the current situation is this. If you have COVID and you end up in the hospital, you're put on a rigid protocol, and there's high mortality rate in the hospital, and your family is kept in the dark as to what's happening. So what's going on here? Number one, the CARES Act is providing bonus payments to hospitals whenever you have a diagnosis of COVID. And then number two, the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services is waiving patient rights. This is a deadly combination. So here's what happens. You get a payment because you offer a free COVID test in the emergency room. You get a boost payment if you have a diagnosis of COVID. Number three, you get another bonus payment if you are admitted with COVID. Number four, you get another bonus payment if you're put on remdesivir. Number five, another bonus payment if you're put on a mechanical ventilator. Number six, another 20% bonus if the diagnosis on your death certificate says COVID, even though you may not have died from COVID. And then number seven, there's bonus payments to coroners. Do you understand the gravity of what's happening right now? The Biden administration is literally paying hospitals to kill you. That's what's happening. This is terrible. We need to stop that. These are real human lives we're talking about.
Yeah, man.
They're priceless. It's estimated at about $100,000 per patient is what the hospital's getting. Think about that. Ladies and gentlemen, the real news of right now continues on the next front.
Now what? I sent you another video. This one's 30 seconds. You got to see. So people can say, oh, this guy's full of shit, right? This guy's, listen to this government official. Listen
Even
to
if
this.
you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death. So everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that that was the cause of the death, but they had COVID at the time of death. I hope that's helpful.
Stop. So
come on.
When people do this, dude, do you understand? Like that lady is risking a lot by saying that,
but they just had to go out there and say it just to cover their ass later.
But she's also like, it's either sigil magic where they got to tell you what they're doing, so that, and if you don't stop them, it's on us. Or some people have fucking a soul and they see what's going on, and this is just them trying to help. So I don't know. Your thoughts, Drew?
Oh, man, like, I'm glad that Eddie touched on this right away, because one of the things that really, really was illuminated to me during this whole process, and we'll get to my actual story eventually here, but it was how before all of this shit went down, I used to believe that you couldn't fake stats, that math was a hard science, that like, okay, well, the numbers say this, the numbers can't lie. Never has it been more clear that the numbers can lie by omission as easy as anything else. You can make the same set of statistics, say whatever you want to justify them with.
Dude, I mean, one of the books, and I can't believe that this was done not purposefully, like he accidentally did this, but one of the books during an interview that Bill Gates was reading was How to Lie with Statistics. Right? Wow. Which makes me think that, again, that's sigil magic and all that stuff. Okay, what do we got?
Okay, now this guy is on, he's a doctor, and he's like, wait a minute. Did you guys ever even isolate COVID? Watch, play this one.
I'm a clinical lab scientist and have tested 1,500 supposed positive COVID-19 samples collected here in Southern California. When my lab team and I did the testing through Koch's postulates and observation under a scanning electron microscope, we found no COVID in any of the 1,500 samples. What we found was that all of the 1,500 samples were mostly influenza A and some were influenza B, but not a single case of COVID, and we did not use the BS-PCR test. It's polymerase chain reaction test. Celia Farber does wonderful journalism on the topic. I did videos on this channel for that. We then sent the remainder of the samples to Stanford, Cornell, and a few of the University of California labs, and they found the same results as we did. No COVID. They found influenza A and B. All of us then spoke to the CDC and asked for viable samples of COVID, which CDC said they could not provide as they did not have any samples. We have now come to the firm conclusion through all our research and lab work that the COVID-19 was imaginary and fictitious. The flu was called COVID, and most of the 225,000 dead were dead through comorbidities such as heart disease, cancer, diabetes, emphysema, etc. Then they got the flu, which further weakened their immune systems, and they died. I have yet to find a single viable sample of COVID-19 to work with. We at the 7 universities that did the lab tests on these 1,500 samples are now suing the CDC for COVID-19 fraud. The CDC has yet to send us a single viable, isolated, and purified sample of COVID-19. If they can't or won't send us a viable sample, I say there is no COVID-19. It is fictitious. The 4 research papers that do describe the genomic extracts of the COVID-19 virus never were successful in isolating and purifying the samples. All the 4 papers written on COVID-19 only describe small bits of RNA, which were only 37 to 40 base pairs long, which is not a virus. A viral genome is typically 30,000 to 40,000 base pairs. With as bad as COVID is supposed to be all over the place, how come no one in any lab worldwide has ever isolated and purified this virus in its entirety? That's because there never really was, they never really found the virus. All they've ever found was small pieces of RNA, which were never identified as the virus anyway. So what we're dealing with is just another flu strain. Like every year, COVID-19 does not exist and is fictitious.
Boom.
Hold on 1 second. So, Johnny, you sent me something. Hold on 1 second. What were you?
The guy in this video is not the doctor. He's reading. This is a guy who reads tweets on his account.
So he's not a doctor?
No, he's reading the tweets that he found somewhere. No, I don't know, but he's not the actual doctor. That guy.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, I googled his
Let's
name.
see that.
His name is Patrick Gunnels. Is the guy's that guy's name?
Okay, so he's reading something.
Yeah.
That's not the actual doctor.
So whoever sent that video labeled him as the doctor, but
he's it's this guy. This guy right here. This is Patrick Gunnels.
oh, okay. So he was reading it. Whoever sent that video, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I
think that's very important.
They labeled him.
He's
as
not
a
the doctor. He's reading this Dr. Derek Knaus.
Okay.
Is information.
So is Dr. Derek Knaus, who's he? Pull him up.
Yeah, will you look him up?
He's saying that COVID doesn't exist, but I mean, to play devil's advocate, when I got the flu this time, my taste and smell were completely gone.
Okay, so let me send you something.
I don't want to hear that. Yeah, because everyone's gonna be like, that for sure happened.
Yeah, the whole taste and smell thing. Okay, no, I'm gonna show you.
It's gonna be impossible to find because it's gonna be all these bullshit fact checkers.
No, I'll find something.
But go to images. See
this.
if you can find him real quick.
It's just that guy.
No, that's the guy right there.
Right, the wrong.
Yeah, but that dude might be the rich guy.
Let's see here. No, that's Robert.
He passed.
Oswald.
Okay, it's interesting, dude. It's interesting. Okay, interesting, dude.
It's not him.
Look at that bow tie.
Look at that bow tie. So as Eddie's looking this up,
no, I'm looking up Los Angeles Times. This is Los Angeles Times, 1988. From the archives. Sense of smell can be victim of bout with flu. That's February 21, 1988.
I mean, yeah.
Really?
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Look, I'll send it to you right now. You could put it up.
They talk about how unique that is to COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, check this out. This is 1988. Hold on.
no, I'm with you.
That's the only other thing that can really stands out when you're like, okay, I couldn't smell shit.
Totally.
Other than that, your body aches, cough, sore throat, it's all pretty much the flu in a certain way.
People can call me crazy. I got whatever it was, the flu, whatever. I got a bad shoulder, dude.
Who had the thing on their tongue?
I did.
Yeah, see, that's different.
I had COVID tongue, whatever.
See,
that
check
is.
this out. Look. This is from 1988, from the Los Angeles Times. Look.
Could be victim of bout with flu. Yep.
Back when they actually did reporting.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. Yeah. All this stuff is done. Everything has changed, dude. What year is that?
1988.
Yeah, we'll call that pre-Clinton. Everything when Clinton came in completely changed this country. They were the extension of the Bush death cult, okay? And they were brought in because the Bushes couldn't pass everything they wanted to because liberals wouldn't let them. But the Clintons would galvanize the liberal side and they would fight tooth and nail to pass anything that the Clintons wanted because they were convinced that there was a giant movement to just destroy the Clintons because they were outsiders when they were just playing ball with the Bushes the whole fucking time. It's all Bush clan. It's all Bush clan. And so isn't Joe Biden part of the Bush death cult.
And one thing that the CDC just admitted like 2 weeks ago was that they're saying at more than 75% of the people that died of COVID had at least 4 comorbidities.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? You see how they said more than 75%. The actual number, or you get that from their website, is 95%. It's 95%. They didn't want to say that.
That's amazing.
They didn't want to say 95%. 95% of the people that died of COVID had at least 5 comorbidities, not 4. 5. That's 95%. What does it do to that number? Like if you have a number, you have 900,000 deaths from COVID. And then the CDC comes out and said 95% of those had at least 5 comorbidities. What does that do to that number? Does it slash the number down to what? On a calculator, what would you do? What would you do on a calculator? Do you minus 95%?
Yeah.
You minus 95%? Wow.
So what we're doing is how many people died from just COVID, and the number is
then it's like nothing. The flu. Then it's probably like the flu. 70,000, 80,000 a year.
Like 5 of those there's a lot of shit to be having wrong with your body. I'm looking at the list of them, and it's all pretty tough
Yeah,
reasons
I mean,
to
like,
count that as a
they're just-
comorbidity: pregnancy, overweight, mental issues,
And the
HIV
average age of-
infection, heart. You need 5 of those. to
Listen,
die?
man.
Yeah.
Listen.
And the average age of death from the flu is like 80, right?
No. The average.
And COVID, the same average age of death. The average age of death of COVID, even if you count all 900,000 and you don't subtract 95%, the average age is 81.
It's
What?
older than the average age of death.
Can you imagine?
That death kills more people than COVID?
I think everybody. I think everybody can agree. Right? Everyone can agree that this was planned, right? Like some kind of
No, John.
Right?
No, Eddie. No, we can't all agree on that because if we would agree on that, we wouldn't be having shows like this.
No.
We would just be like- Right?
Us here, right?
Oh, yeah.
World
I mean,
like
this is
Agenda
acquired.
21 and all
Yeah,
that stuff. The simulations that were running on pandemics before. Everybody knows this is planned. The Great Reset, right? Everyone like the Great.
We
this
have
part,
the document.
This is part of the Great
We
Reset,
have
right?
the document.
This is part of the Great Reset, correct?
Yes.
Right. Can you imagine having this plan, this pandemic, Great Reset? And remember, there's only 3 choices: bat, evil scientists, or you just change the goddamn name of the flu to COVID. It's only those 3, right? So you come up with this plan. You have all these fucking simulations, and you have the Great Reset, and the bankers are all involved. The corporations are all involved. Sports, Hollywood, the media, big tech, everyone's in on it. And then they go, okay, great plan. What are we going to do? Oh, we just got to wait for a bat to as soon as a bat leaks this virus, then we can get this Great Reset on the road, right? So it can't be the bat. If it was planned, they ain't gonna have this plan and then wait for a bat, right?
Right.
And then now evil scientists. They're gonna. Can you imagine if it came? They got this plan and they go, okay, we got this evil scientist in Wuhan. He's gonna leak it in some alley or some wet market, and then boom, it's gonna spread all over the world. Then we can get this Great Reset thing going, dude. All the data manipulation that has been going on and all the fraudulent activity that's been going on so many levels. That guy, that evil scientist, his head's probably in a suitcase. You know what I mean? Like the head Illuminati looks like. Average age of this motherfucker, the virus this motherfucker leaked is like the flu. You're giving me flu numbers? We gotta lie on death certificates for this? Who is this motherfucking scientist? They would hang that motherfucker on in a hotel door with some rubber bands around his neck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that guy would get fired from the Illuminati.
Yeah.
You're gonna leak something? If you're gonna leak something, give me like average age 30, dog. Average age 30, dog. I want kids to die from this shit too. Right? Don't give me no average age 81 and they need 4 comorbidity. Who is this fucking scientist? That would kill that motherfucker. They got this Great Reset. They're gonna change the world's economy. And this motherfucker we gotta lie and shit. You gotta set the PCR at 40. So we had to set it at 40 cycles, dog. That fucking virus was weak, dog.
Yeah.
It was killing only people with 5 comorbidities.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy must be sweating. Average age. He wanted average age like 40 at least. He got 81. Your average age is probably sitting down and go, let's take a walk. He goes, do you know that they have to take him a walk along the fucking this river, right? That they're gonna throw him in. How you doing? How the family? How the kids? Yeah. You know what the average age of life expectancy is in the United States? I think it's like 76. Yes, that's correct. It's 76. Do you know the average age of death from your goddamn virus? It's fucking 81, dog! Boom! Yeah. Bullet to the back of the head. 3 bullets to the back of the head. Suicide. They lay him on some train tracks. You know what I mean?
And then he gets labeled a COVID death.
The Great Reset. And all you got is this evil science. Dude, that evil science, that's so science fiction movie. Like,
I totally agree.
And then the funding and then the emails from Fauci, I think they're just stealing the money. I think that they're just stealing the money. You know what I mean? Like, what do they do? You guys are studying viruses. You guys already had the cure. You had HCQ since for 60 years, and you had ivermectin. They already have the cure to all coronaviruses. With ivermectin and HCQ, they already have the cure. They only let it out like with malaria. Dude, we want to go in the jungle and fuck these motherfuckers up and take their shit. We need to use that HCQ. These dudes are getting malaria. So for like malaria, they go, okay, we'll let them use it for malaria. You know, fuck it, we got to get those minerals. Okay, so malaria, you know what I mean? But it works. If it works for malaria, it works for the cold too. They've already had the cure to the common cold this whole time.
Dude, what about
this whole time? So what are you doing studying You studying viruses? How about you're stealing the fucking money? How about you ain't studying
sending
shit?
in guerrilla fucking fighters to kill like HCQs, like fucking factories? How about this, dude? What about that speaking of Canadians, that billionaires that are both hung, word on the street is they had hydrochloroquine or whatever the word is. They had factories on that, and they fucking off those motherfuckers.
And how about all the sports stars that get COVID that don't die? How come nobody's dying? If this was so deadly, dude, when someone in the NFL gets fucking COVID, no one's like, oh my God, we're going to talk to the parents. Like Nick Chubb, he's my favorite running back. He's on the Cleveland Browns. He gets COVID. He's not even sick. They're interviewing him. He goes, I feel like I could play Sunday, but, you know, they're not going to let me. And it's probably a good idea that I stay away from people, but I feel good, you know. Nobody's worried about him dying. And nobody, they're like, damn, he's going to miss 2 games. Fuck. No one's going, oh my God, Nick Chubb, is he going to make it? Yeah. Anybody that gets on the COVID list, no one is like, oh my God, are you going to make it? They're all just like, damn, he's going to fuck this fucking playoff run up. Now we're not going to the goddamn playoffs. Nobody's like, how about in jiu-jitsu, nobody's dead? Jiu-jitsu is the opposite of social distancing. Yeah. No-gi jiu-jitsu, sweat. It's so anti-social distancing that Big Pharma should use jiu-jitsu as a way to test vaccines. Yeah. They should set up like jiu-jitsu schools and just get a bunch of people doing no-gi jiu-jitsu, start switching off with different people, give them the vaccines. That's the ultimate test. Jiu-jitsu is the canary in the coal mine for this shit. That's why a lot of jiu-jitsu people ain't falling for this shit, because we ain't dying. The only people dying in jiu-jitsu are people that got the vax and then they have heart attacks. Those are the ones that are dying.
Soccer players.
Yeah,
coming with fire today, Eddie. You just blew my mind a little bit, because thinking back before the vaccine was available, you never heard about these soccer stars falling over. If you can get myocarditis from having COVID and you can also get it from the vaccine, why is it just after the vaccine that we're getting all these montages of athletes dying?
Yeah, dude. Everybody's going after Joe for this 1 second where he had that Australian motherfucker on who challenged him about kids getting fucking myocarditis or whatever it is, right? And Joe, the guy goes, no, that's not true. That's not true. And they looked it up, and Joe looks at the one thing that supports this guy, and everybody runs with it. Everybody runs. Joe's wrong. Joe's wrong. Joe's wrong. Joe could be wrong from today to the next 5 years, and his batting average will still be better than Rachel Maddow on every single fucking thing, dude. Yeah. Every single fucking thing. And these motherfuckers celebrating this dude like this guy getting Joe for a millisecond. Dude, don't tell me that fucking the vaccine doesn't have anything to do with kids getting fucking heart problems, because I never heard of this before the vaccine was introduced. Just common sense tells you that these fucking kids, something's going on, because I never remember going in school, oh, did you hear about Billy? Oh yeah, dude, he had a heart attack and died. Never! Right. Have you, anybody, remember having a problem with high school, elementary kids having fucking heart problems? It doesn't exist. It never existed. Use common sense. Stop trying to convince yourself of a lie because your side is wrong. Stop trying to be right, do right, and do right is meaning you got lied to and fell for this shit.
Yep. Investigation finds 278% increase in worldwide health attack deaths among soccer players in 2001.
What are we doing?
Imagine anything else that was the increase.
How are you an open mind critical thinker when you're on the side of the government and fucking big pharmaceuticals? How are you a rebel? I got all these blue checkmark fucking comedians going after fucking Joe Rogan, Sean Kent, Shane Moss, you motherfuckers, acting like you're free thinkers on the side of fucking big pharmaceuticals. You got Shane Moss calling out Joe Rogan for having a doctor on, and it's like, oh, dude, you have a doctor on, you push. Fuck, this doctor has a new way of dealing with it. Dude, your whole podcast is that. All you do is talk about how you know all this stuff because you talk to doctors. And the guy in the biggest fucking podcast in the world talks to a doctor who is known to help create the mRNA vaccine, and now you're fucking giving him shit because he says he's working on his own thing? Like, get the fuck out of here, man. What's the mental fucking gymnastics you have to do for that? It's like really embarrassing, man. It's really embarrassing how you're willing to fucking deny all the past and fucking go at the side of and fascism, dude. Because you just don't want the other side to be right. It's just like California. They keep voting for the same people in while complaining about crime, high prices, and everything, okay? And you just keep voting the same people in because you cannot not vote for them because you think the other side's going to win. It's
this next video that he's going to play it goes along with what you're saying. Look at Mike Tyson had RFK Jr. on his podcast, and this is
what
just
a great reality we live in, where Mike Tyson is talking to RFK Jr.
Mike Tyson's awake. Mike Tyson is awake. Check this out.
I don't have that yet, Eddie. Sorry.
Oh, it hasn't come through yet?
Not yet.
And dude, look at this. Drew has to fucking leave. Drew has to leave Canada because of all this fucking shit.
I could tell you more of that.
Yeah, let's hear it, and then
hold on. The video should be in. This goes along with what you're saying right now. It hasn't come through yet.
The last thing I have is that LA Times story still.
Okay, I sent it twice to you, so okay.
The FBI's blocking you, Eddie.
Right. Imagine if the polio had a booster.
If what?
The polio had a booster. The polio vaccine had a booster. Any other vaccine
that's
had a
another,
booster.
dude. Polio. That's another story. The whole polio thing. That's another COVID, dog. That's another one. They do this all the time. This ain't the first time. They do it all the goddamn time. You go look back, Spanish flu. That's another COVID, dog. That's just part. Here we go. Check this out. Listen to this.
4 companies and make all 72 of those vaccines, which is Pfizer,
Pfizer's killing
Merck,
everybody.
Glaxo, Merck, and Sanofi.
I love Mike.
I love
all of those companies are convicted felons. And not only that, they're serial felons. Their business model is committing felonies. These companies in the last 10 years collectively have paid $35 billion in penalties, damages, fines for falsifying science, for defrauding regulators, for lying to doctors, and for killing hundreds of thousands of people. Vioxx, which was Merck's flagship product, killed between 120,000 and 500,000 Americans. This was a pill that Merck was selling as a headache pill.
Right.
And Merck knew caused heart attacks and killed people, and they didn't tell anybody. And they knew a certain, we got the spreadsheets that show their bean counters, their accountants said, you're going to kill so many people per dose. We can still make more money, even if they all sue us. And in the end, they killed, up to 500,000 Americans. And they got away with it. They paid $7 billion in fines. Nobody went to jail. And this is,
They probably made $100 million in profits.
Yeah. So this is a company, it requires kind of a cognitive dissonance to believe that these companies that are lying and cheating on every other pharmaceutical product, every other medical device that they create, are somehow found Jesus with vaccines and aren't lying to us. And the thing is with vaccines is the only place they could never get caught because it's illegal in this country to sue a vaccine company.
Oh my God, dude. Think about that. That's your boy Ronald Reagan that passed that.
Yeah.
That's your boy Ronald Reagan.
Yep.
Yeah. You want to know who could do with suing the vaccine companies right now? My sister. I know everybody kind of knows somebody who's had a vaccine injury, but she had her first shot of Pfizer last year, and she still hasn't regained all the function in her legs back.
Jesus Christ. My uncle died, had a heart attack. Was at his funeral, and it was Nobody really talked about it, but
yeah, you want to know the most fucked up thing about it is that she's been through all sorts of different specialists and doctors trying to run tests for over a year at this point, just about a full year. And literally like 2 weeks ago, she finally got a doctor to write a note that says, it's my professional opinion that what's happened with her is most likely related to the shot of Pfizer that she got back in May of last year. And she'd been gaslit for months and gone through ridiculous tests. And they gave her all these different ideas. Like it couldn't be related to the vaccine. It couldn't have been Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is known to be related to the vaccine that takes away the use of your lower extremities. It couldn't have been that, even though it happened right after you got the shot. Couldn't have been that. What it's probably going to be is some sort of Lyme disease that was latent that just sort of popped up coincidentally at the same time. This was the theory that they were running on her for almost a year. And then finally she found this guy's like, no, it's probably from the vaccine. And now she's like, what does she do with that? I'm like, what are you going to do? Is there anyone you can sue? She's like, no, not really. Like, I'm just trying to get my voice heard federally at this point. I'm trying to get my name on some sort of list that they're putting together. And at that point, I don't know, maybe in the future, there'll be some sort of class action, but I mean, don't hold your breath. Like, what can you do? Meanwhile, she's a single mother of 5 kids and has low income and has barely any use of her legs. Like,
my God.
It's disgusting. And like what are you supposed to do about that? This is happening all over the place. Everybody knows somebody or multiple people. I know more people that I could list too, but it's you look at everything that you see online and it says safe and effective, safe and effective. Take the shot, it's safe and effective. And they funnel you down with all of these sticks and carrots. And I'll be happy to tell you what's going on up in Canada and when I was there and since then, because it's fucking insane that it's still going at the rate that it's going right now.
I totally agree.
Go ahead.
I totally agree.
Let's hear your story. It's time.
Yeah. So like I was a jiu-jitsu gym owner for about a year and a half. And anybody like Eddie can confess to this, that when you're starting a small business, the first year is pretty rough. Like usually you're in the red for a while. And then you kind of, if you do everything just right, you can maybe break into the black a little bit and start breaking even about the year mark. I was about at that point where we were like, okay, I think this is actually working. I made this thing work for me like the month that the lockdown started. So I didn't really have a nest egg to speak of when this started. And the first lockdown was about 3.5 months of 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And there's something about like being told that you've got 2 weeks that you're like, okay, I can just make it through that and then I'll be fine. Then they say, well, we're going to do 3 weeks after that. Okay, I guess I can make it through that and maybe we'll be fine. I'll start selling some stuff to make it. And they did this like indefinitely over and over and over. And finally, like I was just about to break at the end of the first lockdown where they said, okay, you can open with restrictions now. And they let us do restrictions where we had to do temperature checks at the door. There's like all sorts of sanitization that had to happen, but we were allowed to open with like limited numbers for up to 4 months. And in that time, not a single student had COVID. Not a single one got it, transmitted it. And like Eddie said, if there is a petri dish for COVID in the martial arts world, it's jiu-jitsu. You are body to body with people. So if anybody has anything, you got it too. That's just how it goes. Flash forward, this is 2020, I guess, now into the fall. And the lockdown started again in November where they shut all our shit down. And I mean, at this point, there was still no vaccine. So just everything shut down except for Walmart. That was basically it. And they'll give you tiny little stipends.
How crazy is that? You know, Walmart, you can't get Corona at Walmart. We're going to keep Walmart, Target, and Amazon Fresh all open.
They got good security at Walmart. Careful.
They're spraying shit down. Remember at first everyone was spraying shit down and going, come to our business. We're spraying shit down. Look, we're wiping. And then on the freeway signs, wash your hands, wash your hands. It was all about washing your hands and spraying shit down. No one sprays shit down no more, dude. Yeah. No one's spraying nothing down anymore. Go ahead.
You know how they controlled you back then too, before there was a vaccine, everybody was under the same scare tactics. It wasn't just like, are you vaxxed or unvaxxed? It was like everybody has to remain maximum scared. Oh, and if you aren't scared, if you're one of these people, it's like, I'm just going to do it anyways. Well, guess what? We've got some fines for you guys. And in Canada, it was up to $2,000 per person if you contacted with someone outside of your household, if you were caught at somebody else's household, if you were caught at a gym of some sort, $2,000 per person. And oh, by the way, if you're the gym owner, $50,000 for every time we catch you running classes when you're not supposed to. So they literally just, these sticks that they held over top of you, it's like, don't fuck up once or we'll get you. And it's not like we're going to put you in jail. It's like, we're going to cripple you and make sure you can't eat or feed your family.
Yep. I mean, 100%. And that's why, like, I'm not mad at these comedy clubs for doing this, for enforcing these things. It's just like, they're fucked if they don't. And we got such a snitch culture from this fucking left, far left. I can't tell you. The Comedy Store used to do shows in the parking lot. They had to stop because people were snitching on them. Jay Dyer was talking about how he's in Austin, had a show. People were calling the cops because there was over 10 people at his function. And it's all the far left. These people that, you know, people are excited that Alex Jones is getting censored. They're calling for Joe Rogan to get kicked off of Spotify because they can't win. Their narrative doesn't stand up to facts. So they're kind of like what I call, I'm a bowler from back in the day. And me, my brother, my father, great bowlers. My brother was one of the greatest bowlers in New York State at the time. We'd be on a bowling team. We would take on these people that had like, they'd never bowled. They just wanted to form a team because they wanted to get out of the house. They would have a plus like 700 handicap, which means we would have to bowl more than 701 points to beat them. That is big tech censorship. It is fucking a handicap to the left that can't compete with facts. So they have to censor everybody so that their fake facts can stand up. And they'll be like, yeah, fake facts. Everybody will all say, oh, fucking COVID, gotta get the vaccine. Now you got Ethan Klein, his fat ass. I will fight you for charity, by the way. Fight me for charity. Fight me for fucking charity, okay? And I'll even let you pick the charity, okay? Fight me for charity. Going off, and now he's not mad at Rogan. All these motherfuckers aren't mad at Rogan about facts. You know what they're mad at him about? Vaccine hesitancy. It's not even about facts anymore. It's about vaccine hesitancy. You're making people hesitant to get the vaccine. But what about the facts? I don't care about the facts. I care about vaccine hesitancy. Why are you making people hesitant? Because of the facts. Right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's exactly it. It's like I don't even know why I have to explain to people why I haven't got this test therapeutic gene therapy. You know what I mean? Like never before in my life have I felt the need to go into a medical experiment. And even before this, if I went into a medical experiment, like if I did like the poor college kid thing, it was for money. You know, now it's like do it or else we'll cripple you. And it's eventually like flash forward. That's eventually what happened to my business. Like 2021 May, I just had to shut it down. Like we burned every single dollar we had. All of our savings were gone. And it got to the point where I had to close the gym down because there was just no end to it. It was never ending. And at that point, my wife actually, you know, I was I still am a single income provider for a family of 6. So for me, selling the house is pure failure. Like I'll do anything before I have to sell the house. But she came to me and actually she started the conversation like, yo, we're going to die if we have to try to support this mortgage without any income, which is what they've been wanting us to do for months, at like 16 months at that point. They've been telling us you're not allowed to make money, but also pay all your bills. Yeah. And like that is such a conundrum that it's impossible, but just do it anyways. I don't care. It's impossible. Just do it anyways. And I did that shit for months longer than most people did just by leveraging my meme account online, trying to make money online through different ways every single month. You know, you can't pitch the same product 2 months in a row. Yep. So you got to sort of fucking figure it out every single month to the point that I was like, I can't keep this up anymore. It's just too many bills. And so she's like, Drew, listen, it's okay. It's just a house. We can sell the house because it's literally the only equity we have left on God's green earth. I'm like, all right, we're selling the house. So we sold the house. We got enough out of it to be able to buy a travel trailer and a truck. And we put our whole family into essentially a hallway on wheels where we've been living ever since June. And, our goal at that point was to get down across into the States for the same reason we were talking about before. It says we're looking at you guys from up in north being like, they're doing it different in different places. And I can see like Texas is doing it different than these guys and Florida is doing it different than those guys. And like, I would like to check it out because if this has to happen again, and I'm sure it will happen again at this point because it's still happening. I don't want to be in the place I was where it didn't work out for me. Like they've lost my faith. I have no faith in any of the systems up there to look out for me because they fucked me already, and they have no remorse. So we were like, we got to get across the border. But at the time that we were trying to do that, the driven border between Canada and the US was completely closed and had been since March of 2020. So we're stuck in a driving house with no way to drive across the border with the winter coming in October. And it was a real bunch of fuckery to try to find a way to get it across. Eventually we found out that if we used one of our friends who is an American citizen living in Canada, he can drive our unit as long as we give him a piece of paper from a lawyer saying he can do it across down into the States because they can't refuse an American citizen coming back to their country. So he drove it down into Montana, and we had to fly our family from Alberta to Vancouver, from Vancouver to Seattle, and drive from Seattle over to Montana to get there because we're allowed to fly at that point. But this was the thing, is we had to do it before November 1st because Trudeau said after November 1st, unvaxxed people are not allowed to fly anymore. So we were cut down like at the knees, and we needed to have this very short time period to get out of the country because I felt like we were being trapped in every direction. Everywhere where there's freedom was like being blocked off, and like we could see it coming down the pipe. And there was this campaign that Trudeau was running to get reelected, which I can't fucking believe he actually did, but somehow he got reelected a third time. This is something that maybe you don't know as Americans, but there's no term limit on Prime Minister of Canada. This is his third term, and he can go indefinitely, and he's in his early 40s. So we might have like a Putin situation where he never gets out. And he ran his campaign on not just a fear campaign, but on like a vengeance campaign against unvaccinated people. It was disgusting when you look at the videos of what he was saying publicly to garner votes. Was like, we're going to get these people who aren't getting the vaccine. We're going to make sure that they have to get it. And this was the thing that actually made us like really move our feet. We actually moved up our timeline when we saw him say this. He said, they're putting our children at risk by not getting the vaccine. And by him saying that, what he was not saying, but also saying between the lines, is that their children are at risk. And when we heard that, we're like, it's a time clock right now before they change the laws and try to take our fucking kids away because we won't get their therapeutic gene therapy. So that was like, we got to get out of here because this country is turning topsy-turvy and nobody seems to see it. Long story short, after like a whole bunch of fuckery and over $6,000 worth of like plane tickets and PCR tests and getting shit across the border, we finally got down into the land of the free, which you may not believe it at this point because of everything going on, but it is so palpably different down here than it is up there. I can't even express it. When we got down into Montana, I'll tell you this one little story because I'll try not to tear up because it's so personal to me. But we got down, the first place we stopped to drop off some shit in Missoula. We stopped at a restaurant to meet one of my friends. I'd never met him before. He was a friend of mine online. And he's like, let's meet up at Wendy's. Let's have a bite and get to know each other. I'm like, sweet, that'll be cool. And I parked the truck. And as I'm getting out, helping the kids out, I tell my eldest daughter, who's 10, I tell her, why don't you run in and grab a seat, grab a table for us while I get the rest of the kids out. And she looks at me like concerned. She looked at me worried and she's like, am I allowed in there, Daddy, without the thing? And what she meant by the thing was the vaccine passport, because we weren't allowed to be in restaurants up in Canada, and she knew it, and she was worried. The look in her eyes, like, am I going to be arrested to go sit down in here to get a meal at Wendy's? And I said, honey, not only do you not need a vaccine passport to go in here, you don't even have to wear a mask. And she looked at me like I told her the pandemic was over. She hasn't seen her fucking friends in like over a year. It's just been us stuck in a house, stuck in a trailer. And the look on her eyes was something that I can't even express how much it meant to me. Like everything we went through and everything I've done and everything I've lost and everything I've sacrificed was worth it to get down here, to be able to give her that experience that life isn't over, honey. And there's actually some light at the end of the tunnel.
Where are you guys at now? In Alabama, right?
We are, yeah. We're in Alabama. We traveled down we traveled down from Montana through Utah and Nevada, California, and then been heading east. We're heading towards Florida next.
Where do you think you're going to live? Florida?
You know, man, we're kind of like scoping out places as we go. And this is kind of like a really cool part of the story, too, because everything's been really dark and gloomy up to this point. But all of a sudden, coming into 2022, we got a lot of perspective because it's actually really hard, as it should be, for somebody who's not an American to come actually live in the U.S. And there's a lot of hoops and red tape you got to go through.
To be honest with you, you got through real easy. If you try to the south of the border,
what we're doing right now, we got to go back. We're only allowed down here for 6 months because we're considered visitors. Yeah, we don't have a visa. So what we need to stay down here is some sort of visa. And the one that we're looking at, I've talked to a couple different immigration lawyers, and the one that I'm looking at is called an E2 visa, which is starting a small business where you're going to plant a brick and mortar somewhere and start bringing some value into the U.S. economy. Okay, sounds easy. There's a whole bunch of prerequisites for that are really easy to meet. And then there's one that's really hard to meet, which is the barrier for entry, is you need $80,000 to $100,000 U.S. capital, proof that you can actually do what you're going to do, a 5-year plan to do it, and enough money that if you made no money during it, you can actually do it for that time. And we had nothing. We had $0 US dollars. You know what I mean? Like, it was hard enough just to put craft dinner on the table. But recently here, I know I talked a little bit about this with Eddie, but I don't even know if he knows the whole story, but all of my money up to this point, I've been making online through the meme page because Jitsu. And I decided, because I've been big into cryptocurrency. I know you're big on Cash Daddies there, Sam.
Hell yeah, dog.
And I've been collecting some crypto and learning about it for over a year now. And I decided to make an NFT collection because it had not been done in the jiu-jitsu space, but I've been watching people do it for like the last 3 or 4 months. So I learned everything I could about it. I did my due diligence. I got shit on relentlessly in the jiu-jitsu community trying to do this when I was pushing it through December. But I put like a full months of marketing into it.
Can you explain exactly what it is? Because I'm still confused with Bitcoin,
dude. So basically,
and NFTs.
Basically, without getting into the weeds, because I mean, if this turns into an NFT podcast, we got 3 more hours here. But like, long story short, you can sort of picture these digital these images that I made as tickets that give the holder certain rights to things. So if you were going to get a ticket to a Metallica concert, the ticket, what it looks like, it doesn't really matter. It's what it gets you. It gets you through the door, right? So this is selling access to an exclusive club. And there's things that you got for owning my NFT that were exclusive, right? You got access to exclusive online digital seminars. There's going to be a get-together conference once a year where everybody gets together who owns this thing, and they're the only ones that are allowed, right? And then there's a whole bunch of these other things. Without getting too deep into it, people wanted it. And what I didn't know is that more people wanted it than were actually shitting on it. And within a week of launching it at the end of December, we completely sold the thing out. We sold the whole series out, which was like 420 units. And I went from starting at the beginning of this last December, worrying about being able to afford craft dinner coming into January, legitimately, like our bank accounts were abysmal coming into January, and we had to make some hard choices, to within a week getting enough money to afford our visa. We made basically over $100,000 of Ethereum in a week.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
That's fucking insane.
That's
I want to make an NFT. How do you do that?
He's making NFTs of Hillary Clinton's
butthole. Yeah. Check
nice.
It out. Yeah. Johnny Woodard on Twitter.
Is it pink or is it brown?
No, it's brown. That thing's blown out.
There's a lot of
Make it pink.
We've got scars from years of violent BDSM. The butt plug.
Do you think she bleaches it?
Yeah.
My belief is that the Kardashians, vajayjay, tastes like pink lemonade. They take good care of that shit.
Got Biden's butthole too.
Right. Oh,
real
do all of them. Do all of them.
Yeah, there's
do all of them.
bed sores because he
do
has
all
actually.
Maybe
My theory is
Trudeau butthole.
My theory is that he hasn't moved actually in a long time. They're just projecting him around the world. You know.
Are you gonna do Tulsi?
It's real bad.
I'd buy that one.
Maybe,
I'd buy that one.
Maybe. Yeah.
Why not, dude? Why not? I think.
Yo, can you with a computer? I forget who's running the computer. Can you pull up OpenSea and pull up? Just type in ape Shaka with a Z at the end, just to see the collection.
Just
I don't know if you'll dig this, Eddie, because they're wearing gis, but you know, I'm a black belt in the gi.
Ape shaka.
Here we go. Say 31.4 Ethereum volume.
Oh, I've
moved.
seen those.
Yeah, dude.
I've seen those online. So
Yeah.
you basically buy a digital image.
And by holding this image, it can be proven who holds it and who doesn't because of the blockchain. You can't screw it. That's why they call it a non-fungible token. It's basically like a can't fuck with token. You can tell who owns it at any given time. And so there you go. Like if you have it, even if you had that picture, if you screen capped it, you wouldn't be able to get the benefits that come to it because I know by the blockchain whether you actually own it or not.
And only one person could buy an image?
Well, one owner per image. Yeah, there's 420 of them because for the lulz, I did 420. But they're all owned at this point. So the only, like you're looking at the one right here, Kui, that's one of your brown belts, Eddie. He bought like 30 of them and he's selling some of them off. And the only way to buy them now, because they're all owned, is to actually buy them from an owner, which is going to cost you more.
Whoa. Interesting. Damn.
Yeah, dude.
And so who's actually, are you the artist?
Yeah, I made those. Yep. Yeah, I this was a lot of the learning curve, to be honest, was like figuring out how to make these. I had to learn a bunch of coding, which I've never coded anything in my life. I went balls in on this, man. I went way outside of my comfort zone and I guess it was worth it. It paid off. And
how much do they cost?
It literally changed my life. How much did what cost? Like to make them?
Like
Just
no, just to buy them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there was a price scale when they started that started at 0.01 Ethereum. And for every 20 in the set, it would go up by 0.005. So the first 20 were 0.01. The next
what does
20
that
were
mean in US
0.015.
dollars?
Essentially, a full Ethereum token right now is like $3,300 US.
Oh, shit.
So a fraction of that. I think the lowest one was like $46 when we were selling them, but they went up to, we sold a whole bunch of them at like $480. And one of them was actually half an ETH, which was like that was close to $2,000 that sold for.
And
like now the floor price is like a quarter. Like most of them are selling from a quarter and up.
Is that a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's $800 plus dollars.
And what do they get once they buy it?
They get into the club. They get into the Ape Shakas Club, where you get like a whole bunch of add-ons. This is stuff it's all like future stuff that's coming, right? They're part of the club that the club is going to get a whole bunch of future access to exclusive things, including digital seminars, including tutorial videos, including in-person get-togethers, like a convention where we're all going to do jujitsu and hang out and do seminars.
Yeah. This is all for the metaverse?
No, it doesn't have to be.
Real.
An NFT
this is real life.
Is somewhat like artwork in virtual. Like you're gonna be able to present it in somewhere in the metaverse. As we understand it right now. What's down the pipe, which is gonna be super scary, bro.
Are you getting royalties on resale?
Yeah, you can set your own royalties. I set at 7.5%. So anybody who sells one from now on, I take 7.5% of each one of those sales.
So the way I learned about it was these ape ones are like the really big ones, and the way they make it seem is they literally give it to famous people, and they can go to these private parties. And the only way to go to these private parties is to have one. So now you want one, so you can go to that party. So it's a bunch of like little things. It's like, let's say you made some, and whoever had this special one got to go to all your comedy shows for free.
By the way,
that would be their thing on why they would buy that one, and then they could sell it later. Like, say they're over you, they're like, I don't like Eddie. He said Earth's not flat no more. He wants to sell it.
It's round, dog. I was wrong.
Yeah, he was wrong, and he wants to sell it, right? And he wants to sell it. He can sell it to someone else, but you'll get royalty when he sells it still. It's a whole. It's a big ass deal.
So it's not necessarily about the metaverse. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was like you're buying something inside of this metaverse.
It can be displayed in it, but it's kind of like if you want a piece of art in your meta house or something, some of the NFTs will be actual usable avatars. I'm not into that shit. I don't really know how to do it, and I don't care about that. But for me and for what he was describing too, if people are wanting to come to your comedy shows, it's what's called utility. You have some sort of utility to owning this that gives you, access to the cool shit.
What if somebody decided he was an artist and he decided to do sell an NFT of someone famous? Is that legal?
I'm
if you
not
did
a lawyer, but you could probably get away with it. I mean, there was somebody that sold one of Elon's retweets for $35,000 or something like
The
that.
first tweet was sold super mad expensive. I don't know who it was, but the first tweet was worth like $30K or something like that.
It was just a tweet?
Just a tweet of the fucking thing.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah, it's
can
kinda
you can
Wild
make
West
an,
right
an
now.
NFT of Joe Biden and sell that.
Absolutely.
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
man.
can see your wheels spinning right now, Eddie.
Dude, it's like the future is like.
Rareable.com/buttholes. There you go.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
I own a lot of Rarible, bro. I've been holding on to.
Hey, there's a couple Eddie Bravo memes, Eddie Bravo NFTs already.
Already?
Yeah, there's one right there.
Uh-oh.
Eddie Bravo NFT. They got. Here's another one.
I want to get paid, dog.
Yeah, tell them, hit them up.
That will legally be something in the future.
Look at that.
For
if
sure.
they use your likeness, that you're
They're
going to be
selling
able
that
to-
for 1,000, 1,500.
Whoa.
you know?
Has that been sold? It doesn't.
No, I
appear
don't think
so
it's been
right
sold, but
No one's
Couple-
gonna buy that shit.
hey,
People
you'd be
do.
Oh, dude, I
surprised.
guarantee
You'd
you
be
bought that shit right
surprised.
now,
I guarantee.
Eddie,
surprised.
Eddie, if you bought that right now and then made it public that you owned it, somebody would buy it back
Big
for you
time.
for double.
Big time.
How much is it?
1,500.
$1,500?
Yeah.
And I could just flip it right away?
Yeah, just be like, I'm
For
buying
sure.
that
If
off
a
you.
celebrity owns something,
Or
that's
you-
worth something to somebody who's not a celebrity, for
Dude,
sure.
Talk to somebody that drew and
So,
help
wait
them
up.
make you NFTs and flip that shit.
We should. Just
I'm
do it.
helping
We should
like
just do a
5
video
other
right now.
people
So this
right
is what
now.
it is.
Since this thing
so
worked
this
out,
guy makes jujitsu punks. So there's all these other punks. So it's a kind of like his, but they can buy from other people. You, Felipe Peña. There's
Peña.
yours.
Oh, Hicks and Gracie.
Hicks and Gracie, Nick Diaz. You can buy. They're all a collection, and you can buy them. And obviously,
I view
It
them like
broke.
action figures,
Joe
like
Rogan's
digital
there.
action figures. It's kind of how I see them.
I could see that as well. I think there's a
Damien
lot
Maya,
of money laundering
yeah.
going on in this.
Oh,
shit
yeah.
at
Big
the high
time.
end.
Cartel's in this.
Big
Yeah.
time.
And
There's no
usually,
regulations in this.
usually people are buying and selling these with cryptocurrency, correct?
Yes.
It's not cash. It's crypto.
There's if you use a system, a new marketplace came out that's called it's through crypto.com, that app. They've got their own NFT marketplace now, and they've got an interface where you can use your credit card and they will do all the transfers in crypto for you after that. So you can actually in their marketplace just use your credit card. So they're trying to get the normies into it that aren't used to like using Ethereum and shit.
Interesting.
Dude, there's
I can't draw with the shit though. I'd have to pay someone to do it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh,
dude.
you got so many artists in your affiliation you
right.
can figure it out.
Yeah, dude. We've been thinking about doing that with if we start doing thumbnails
Oh, you know
on the
what?
show.
You know what? Hold on. Let me...
Okay, yeah. He's gonna do a business
time is
thing.
now.
No. Check this out. I'm gonna check this out.
Yeah, I but going back to all this, dude, the future's bright. It's like are we winning right now or are they letting us win? That's the question.
It's a good question. What's your thought on Omicron? Because that's the only thing they're holding on to at this point, right? And they can't even say it's nothing but the sniffles.
Well, so this guy Cliff High, I swear by him, he does a lot of he's really into data, like the data, but he uses data from a conspirator point of view, truther. And he said that Omicron was sent to just basically stick a fork in the whole COVID thing. And I've been hearing people in the now. You hear people, Gavin Newsom, who I am 100% against, talking about how this isn't even, it's nothing. And like, this is it, man. Like, whatever they have shoved down our throat that is like herd immunity, even though I don't believe in this, is they've achieved whatever it is, in my humble opinion. And the question is, do we go back to normal and nobody pays the price?
Almost impossible.
Come on.
I mean,
No.
that is what makes me nervous, that nobody's going to... Now, we learned a lesson from the Iraq war, weapons of mass destructions. You saw, Trump was trying to get us into...
Look at that. Scott Epstein, one of my black belts, he's an artist.
Yeah.
This is an NFT that he made.
Yeah.
The Einstein?
Yeah, that's Einstein.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's awesome,
That's
right?
sick. Yeah, that's sick, dude. I love that.
That is sick. I mean, it looks just like you if you were a lizard person.
I look like a slee stack.
Yeah, you totally do, dude.
I love that.
But those are things. So,
Weapons of mass destruction.
yeah, I mean, like, we learned a lesson. You remember they're like, oh my God, Iran attacked our drone. And everyone's like, we've seen this game plan before. I think that now they're not even going to try to get us to want to go to war with Iran. They're just going to go to war. And that's another problem I have. What we are waking up to more and more is that our government is no longer responsive to the people. That we have taxation without representation.
Well, the overall, I mean, there's definitely a pandemic going on. It's a scamdemic. It's a global thing. It's a worldwide thing. Some people think it's about depopulation, right? Like the elites they keep talking about depopulation, right? Don't they keep talking about it? Check out the last video I just sent him. This is Boris Johnson's father in 2012. Check this out. This is scary shit. Yeah, this one's scary. This is Boris Johnson, his father, in 2012.
Oh,
you just had it.
Yeah, you had it.
That one right there.
There you go.
Scary.
The net growth people. But I'd add as a corollary to that, you have to get population under control as well, because if you look at it in sheer economic terms, how can you sustain increases in per capita income at a time when you have rising population without rising economic growth? Whereas if you have a declining population, which is what I would aim for, then of course even a stable economic growth situation will give you increases in per capita income. So that's where I stand on that.
Do you have a sense of what the carrying capacity of Britain is, or of the world as a whole? Or?
Well, Britain, I put it at 10 or 15 million. I think that'd be absolutely fine. I mean, that would do us really splendidly. At a limit, 2025, I think it's complete nonsense that we are now confronted with an island, would you believe it, of 70 million people. I wrote a paper, I think it's the only paper the Conservative Party has ever published, and it was published as an old Queen Street paper in June 1972, oddly enough. And it was called Britain Needs a Population Policy. And
you could still argue that today, I mean, right now.
I certainly could. But what has happened, of course, is that we have all been, as it were, shunted off course by what you might call the rise of political correctness, because you can't talk about this now without saying you're anti-feminist, because you're telling women what to do with their bodies, or you're racist, because you're saying it's the browns and the blacks and the yellow races who mustn't have, or you're a left-winger, because you're trying to get at the capitalist society. So it's a very, very difficult one now, and I would say that at the very least, the governments of the world have to start talking. The government of this country has to start talking seriously about immigration. Because if you look at the rise in Britain's population now, you will see that, as it were, there is a really serious differential in the fertility of the immigrant population to the fertility of what you might call the indigenous population. So anyway, but this is very political stuff, not one for Guardian readers.
He just said he would like it at 10, 20 million. He goes, it's crazy that we're at 70 million for an island. It's incredible. Like, what is he talking about? You could fit the entire population of the world in Texas or Florida in a house of their own, right? No one disputes that. I was on JRE. I don't know, fact checkers check that. If that's true, you could fit the whole population in one state, then there's no overpopulation problem. That's all bullshit. Every time I'm on a plane, I don't see anybody. I see vast wasteland, vast. And I remember thinking back when I used to travel all the time for seminars in the 2000s, before I'm at where I'm at right now mentally with what's going on this place that we live. I used to be on the plane going, damn, there's so much empty wasteland. We could easily be born with a plot of land. That's what I was always thinking. Like, look at all I see is just empty wasteland everywhere. There's cities like New York, there's a lot of people. LA, it's all packed. But everywhere else, everything's scattered.
Purposefully.
Everything is scattered.
That's done purpose.
So people that live in these big cities like LA, yes, they feel like, they believe the overpopulation myth. They believe it. But really, there's nobody here. There's nobody here.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And this motherfucker's talking about we got to kill people off.
and they've made you think pollution and climate change are the same thing.
Same thing. Same thing. Yeah.
So everybody's stuck in traffic all the time, going, "Oh my God, look at all these people. We got to get rid of a bunch of people." They don't go to Montana. They don't go to these wide open areas. Johnny, do you agree? Disagree on this?
I absolutely agree. Yeah, and it's also discounting human nature, which is that we're social animals. We want to be together. We've chosen, most of us, to be around each other. You know, we could easily choose, as you know, many of us are descended from nomadic people, to move all the time. Also, that's what you see. A lot of these people to move to like Montana and the Midwest, they have that wild spirit. You know, they want to be moving. I get a little of that. You know, I can totally imagine wanting to get out there. And there's plenty. This infinite, like you said, infinite space in Montana.
Here's the thing. This guy wants 20 million people be in Britain. At the time of the interview, he said there was 70 million. He wants 50 million to die. All the while, he's having children.
Yeah.
How bold are they? How bold is he to even come out and say that? Just to say it.
That's crazy.
Right?
Because they do say this.
Bill Gates said the exact same thing. His father started Planned Parenthood.
They have these conventions, these UN climate. So the video I just sent you, did you get it yet?
Got it. Yeah, got it.
Check out how they use climate change and the environment to push the New World Order agenda.
Ladies and gentlemen, the origins of the environmental movement.
Ladies and gentlemen, the origins.
Hold on.
Formed. The Club of Rome has been described as a crisis think tank, which specialises in crisis creation. The main purpose of this...
Can you stop for 1 second? Do you hear what she just said?
Rewind it.
Do you hear what she just said?
Club of Rome.
But what did she say they do?
They have think tanks. They're trying to figure out how to get everybody to embrace a new world order. They want everyone to embrace a one world government. That's the whole plan.
They create crisis.
Exactly.
She says it right there. Start from the beginning.
Ladies and gentlemen, the origins of the environmental movement as we see it began back in 1968 when the Club of Rome was formed. The Club of Rome has been described as a crisis think tank which specialises in crisis creation. The main purpose of this think tank was to formulate a crisis that would unite the world and condition us to the idea of global solutions to local problems. In a document called The First Global Revolution, authored by Alexander King and Bertrand Schneider, on pages 104 and 105, it stated, "In searching for a new enemy to unite us, we came up with the idea that pollution, the threat of global warming, water shortages, famine and the like would fit the bill. All these dangers, of course, will be caused by human intervention that will require a global response." That's the origin of global warming, ladies and gentlemen. In 1992, former President of the United States, George Bush Sr. said, "Effective execution of Agenda 21 will require a profound reorientation of human society, unlike anything the world has ever experienced. A major shift in the priorities of both governments and individuals, and an unprecedented redeployment of human and financial..."
Even if you died of...
That's it right there. So basically she's saying they're a think tank where they come up with ways to get everybody to embrace a one world government.
Creating a crisis.
And dude, think about Hollywood. If the people that are doing that don't have complete control of Hollywood and the media, they're insane, right? You're like, you don't have complete control of Hollywood? Of course they do. Of course they do. What big, this is like a game we could play. We could do this in Swarm Tank too. Think of throw out a movie, a big blockbuster, and try to break down what they're trying to push, right? Just like last night I watched fucking Lord of the Rings. What is Lord of the Rings? There's a Mordor, right? It's evil. And they're trying to unite all the neighboring like castles and cities to unite against Mordor because those orcs, those demons, those aliens, that Mordor could be a fake alien invasion. It could be anything where it gets everyone to unite. And if you don't unite, the orcs are going to come and kill you. You don't want to join us? They're going to come and kill you anyways. You know what I'm saying? Just like Independence Day, right? Independence Day. Aliens are coming down. Everybody's uniting. And in 2012, the end of the world, environment. And who saves the day? China. You watch 2012, who saved the day? It turns out, they find out at the end that China, they built a bunch of arcs, so everyone's trying to get the fucking China. Everyone's trying to get the China. They're all uniting. It's all about tricking, using our hearts, because that's what we have. Humans have hearts. And we love our neighbors. And naturally, unless you have a fucked up childhood where you got beat to death, naturally, we love each other.
Trusting.
Yeah, so exactly. Naturally, we're trusting. Naturally, we're all about love. So it's all about using that to trick you, using your love to trick you. That's why you have all these NGOs that, they're like, if there's an NGO that says it's called We Love Children and We Build, churches. You're gonna want to donate money to, we save children, we save children, we take children. Yeah. They're gonna give them money. They tricked you. They used your heart against you. So that's what it is. It's a game of what the
emotional terrorism.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How can we use their love against them to achieve a one world government and to get them to embrace it and beg for it? That's their whole game.
So what you're talking about, a great example of this is, I always say it, is these hidden camera shows, these prank shows.
Yeah.
Like how many there's a prank show on Jackass where they put a baby on top of a car, a fake baby, and they drove off and they watched everybody freak out. And everyone's like, look at the stupid people. They thought it was a real baby. And they're like, those people were concerned for the health of, and I'm not trying to be like, and we got to take everything serious, but I'm like, really, when you break down, those people were trusting and concerned for a child's health, right? You are manipulating people's kindness and trusting to make fun of them at that moment. Now take that on a higher level and you put that on globally about all these psyops that are being done, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, a big way to get us to go and kill Saddam Hussein was they had this girl come in and talk about Iraqis throwing babies on the floor. Just taking babies out incubators and smashing them on the ground.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that girl that was trying to act like she was just an Iraqi was the daughter of a politician. What are they called? I have a diplomat. A diplomat's daughter who was bold-faced lying to everybody because she was told to do it by her family to manipulate war.
Yeah.
If they can do that, why can't they do that with the coronavirus? Why can't they do that with everything else? So, you can say whatever you want about Trump, and I call Trump out when I think Trump's done some problem. But the one thing that he did, and why I believe Trump is a different crime boss, they're all crime bosses, dude. These people keep looking for billionaires to save them. They're all different crime bosses with different agendas. And I would take a nationalist crime boss over a globalist crime boss, right?
Yeah.
So I think Trump represents a different crime family than the Bush death clan. That's my humble opinion. It's a different group, and they have more of a nationalist type situation where they want to make the neighborhood look good, right? It's like a crime family who lives in a neighborhood versus a crime family from, let's say, Mexico, right? They have two different cares about the neighborhood.
Yeah.
If you don't live here, you just want to destroy it, and you're paying. And people who live in the neighborhood, like when you live on a crime boss's neighborhood, it's kind of peaceful. Because the crime boss doesn't want his fucking neighborhood to be full of crime. Don't fuck with the crime bosses.
You think Tony Soprano's neighbors had any trouble?
Yeah, you think they ever had to call the cops and call, hey, Tony, this fucking guy's creeping, right? No. That's what I thought was Trump. And the one thing, no matter what you want to say about Trump, the one thing he did was get out of that Paris Peace Accord, which was written by Paris Climate Accord, which was written by who? The Club of Rome. And who is in Rome? The fucking Vatican, dog. The Vatican is in fucking Rome. And people don't understand what that Paris Climate Accord wasn't about stopping climate change. It was about taxing people. And what they were going to do was allow people like China and everybody else to buy credit from the Club of Rome to be able to pollute some more. It was never going to stop it. It was never about stopping it. It was about profiting off of it even more.
Yeah. And the fact that he pulled out of that I don't know. That could be it could be a trick in another way, but it is a good sign.
I 100%. Dude, you gotta give credit when credit is due.
Yeah. Anytime someone says they don't believe the climate change bullshit, I feel like okay, they're at least half awake, at least. They're because it's pretty goddamn obvious that they don't give a fuck about shit, and these motherfuckers are getting up there talking about they're worried about the climate change. We're barely even on this motherfucker. We ain't doing shit. There's no climate. It's all I'm with. There's two sides. There's people that believe the data and the science. Oh, we're gonna fucking die and Florida's gonna be underwater and all that shit. They've been saying that shit for 30 years.
Forever.
Or there's that other side that people are like, oh, that science is bullshit because we got this science, and I believe that. I believe those motherfuckers. Anybody, look at the people pushing climate change. Look at it's all the same demons that are pushing COVID.
Yeah.
That should tell you something. You should use your common fucking sense. On the street, you'd be like, those motherfuckers, they're pushing it. Psst, it must be bullshit.
How much of climate change is happening on your computer screen, on your television screen? Yeah. Oh my God, the polar bears are dead. Have you seen a polar bear starving to death? Have you seen a glacier fall into into the water?
The polar bears are drowning.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a nuclear bomb?
Yeah. Look at all those.
Have you seen a fucking virus?
Yeah.
Have you seen any of these things with your own fucking eye? And
no, they get you. They use your heart because that's what all that Discovery Channel documentaries on animals are. It's always the same shit. They get you to fall in love with these pumas, and this mother puma. She's got 3 cubs, and she's got to trap. Sometimes it takes days to get and then she's missing these deer. She can't get these deer, and then finally it's snowing, and she grabs this deer and takes it down and drags it back to her cubs. And then meanwhile, they'll just cut real quick. They cut to chopping down the forest. Look, they're taking away their environment. And boom, look at everyone. They're always showing chopping down the forest. They're taking and then they go back to the cubs. So it gets everyone going, we need to stop this. We need to, they get you. That's how they get you. All that shit. How the hell do they film some of these goddamn documentaries on animals?
Get me started, bro.
How do they film these things? How many cameras do they got in the jungle where they're getting these shots? They're getting these shots. Watch some documentaries. They're getting some amazing shots.
And Ray in camera, never off of camera. Ray in the center of camera.
And they're following this family of spiders and shit. Dude, how the fuck are you following these spiders and these hornets and these wasps, and they follow the baby bee and oh man, that shit's in the studio, dog.
We talked about this, man. There's times I watch, I go, dude, that's so weird. So I remember watching these gazelles, and they're all running from this fucking leopard or whatever, this cheetah. They're running, and then out of nowhere, somehow, this fucking one fucking gazelle just somehow stumbles the other way, and the thing grabs it.
And they got a good angle. You're like,
why would this one just go? Dude, it got chucked out so this thing could eat it, and I'm fucking guessing.
How many cameras you got to set up? You know how long it takes to set up a camera to film a TV show? Just one fucking camera? It's going to take 2-3 fucking hours to get this shot.
Yeah.
And you're telling me how many cameras you got out in the fucking Congo?
Yeah.
How many cameras
you have to believe that. You have to believe that these profit-obsessed networks are giving them unlimited budget to just go away in the desert for months and months and months. Never happened. It would never happen.
There's a BBC documentary that me and Joe used to be obsessed with called The Congo. It's so good. And we fucking bought it hook, line, and sinker. There's something they want in the Congo. Congo's very important to them. You watch this documentary, BBC The Congo, shit, you'll get sucked in. It's insane. And just imagine, how the fuck are they filming? The lighting, the shots. I mean, do you have 100 cameramen out there setting up? How you getting this shit? It's in a studio, dog.
It's all it's just snuff porn, dog.
Yeah.
It's just straight
green screen.
snuff
They
porn,
got green
dog.
screen, dude.
It's just fucking so weird, bro. It's so weird. So here we are at the end, and all this shit everything is psyops on psyops on psyops, dude. It just is what is coming out right now, and it's very suspect how it's coming out now, but which I always go, why is this coming out now? Why didn't we hear about this earlier? But cultural Marxism, okay, at what is now better known as environmental social governance control, ran by 3 fucking companies, which is Vanguard, who I think is literally the Rothschilds, the Royals, and the Rockefellers, okay, and the Passar family. All those people, that's their company. And then you have the one layer below that, which is what? BlackRock. What is BlackRock? Looks like a fucking what? Black cube of Saturn, right? And this thing that they push called environmental social governance. They don't keep that in. Corporate governance. Right, they just say governance. They don't want you to know it's about corporates, because that's straight up corporatocracy, which is the new fascism.
It's crazy, like these environmentalists that they just completely ignore these military aircraft spraying chemtrails like all over the fucking place. Completely ignore that. That's a crazy conspiracy theory after they already admitted at the Council on Foreign Relations. John Brennan, when he was the head of the CIA, he made a presentation about chemtrails, geoengineering. He called them SRIs, stratospheric aerosol injections, SAIs. He talked about it, and it's going to cost $10 billion in this crazy thing. This is like a Lord of the Rings type thing. He's talking about it's going to cost, it's relatively inexpensive at $10 billion annually, but there will be some countries that are not going to benefit from this spraying that we're going to do. They're going to be against it. So we need to figure out how to get the countries that are against this global spraying of the skies to save the environment. First of all, what's the CIA, why are they involved in spraying and saving the environment? Aren't they? Isn't their job to stop the spread of communism internationally? That's it, right? That's it. He came out and said we're gonna start spraying the skies to save the environment. SAI, stratospheric aerosol injections. They admitted it. If you can watch it on YouTube, you just go John Brennan admits chemtrails. Yeah, right. Yeah. We've already shown that. Shown it. He talks about it, and yet no environmentalists are saying, "What the fuck are you talking about? You're going to spray metallic particles in the atmosphere to reflect the sunlight? Are you fucking insane, dude? They're spraying aluminum, barium. Like, what are you doing,
Bill Gates?
What are you doing?
Fucking spray the fucking sun." Okay.
Yeah.
So think about this. He wants to spray the sky so it will dim out the sun. Okay. Then he wants to get rid of CO2. What do plants need to make oxygen? The sun and CO2.
I think that's all just a cover. Like they're not spraying shit to save the fucking environment. They're just saying that so we embrace it.
Yeah.
They're spraying for other reasons.
No, 100%.
They're controlling the weather. I think what they're spraying, they spray and they study how it goes down the jet stream, and if they need to fuck up some weather in Alabama, they spray a little bit in like Wyoming, and then it goes. They got this jet stream. Maybe they spray it in Oregon, and it goes because they do a lot of spraying on the West Coast, dog. They spraying all the they're spraying all last week. All last week, boom. I'm going hiking. I'm in hiking. Well, fuck. It was supposed to be a clear day, completely clear, no clouds in the sky, but nothing but chemtrails up in the sky. Oh, you're crazy. Oh, you're insane.
Can I say how happy I am to hear Eddie talking about chemtrails again? This feels like 2019. I'm so happy right now.
But if
too long, dog.
If you get into everything, whether it's like you study cultural Marxism, bro, everything. Look at the 3 months that we have dedicated to people, right? We have Black History Month. I think we all understand the history of that. Okay, we're like, yeah, man, we need Black History Month. Recognize it. I don't know how long we're going to need that for. It seems like black people are killing it right now. I don't know if you notice this, but in commercials, they're like doing amazing things like scuba diving. Have you ever seen a black person scuba dive before? But in commercials, they're fucking crushing it, right? Then suddenly you have, oh, out of nowhere, what else do we got? We got, Women's Appreciation Day, right? That came out of fucking nowhere. And now we have Gay Pride Month. Which I don't give everybody a month. I don't give a fuck, right? But if you study cultural Marxism, that fits in exactly what they do, which is what? Demonize the ethnic majority, raise up the ethnic minority, okay? Raise up alternative lifestyles, okay? And then start gender wars. It's all right there. It's all right there. And when they don't want you to look at cultural Marxism because they tell you that it's anti-Semitic because they use buzzwords to have you run away. It's happening. It's called environmental, social, corporate governance. It's happening right there. That's why Disney and everybody else runs these programs that nobody watches because BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street all own giant chunks of them, and they get bailed out when all these projects fail. The Matrix lost what? $400 million. The 355 lost $400 million. These companies don't care. You know why? Because they all get bailed out by the Fed. It's all getting bailed out by the Fed. And then what happens? So these other companies that are smaller, they start seeing everybody doing this woke shit. So what they start doing, we're going to do woke shit too. But they don't get Fed money. Like the people who are working with Colin Kaepernick. They all started doing shit with Colin Kaepernick because they saw that all the woke people loved him. They lost their fucking shirts. But they don't have Fed money coming in to bail them out. NBC, ABC, Disney, all of them. Dude, they do all this woke shit because they don't care about profits. Because the people that are fucking advertising with them are owned by the same people who own NBC, Disney, all these companies. And when they make no money, they don't care. Because at the end of the day, the shareholders are going to get their money because they're going to get bailed out by the Fed. This is all manufactured. It's all manufactured. And that's why people are waking up to it. More and more, like with I think the Dave Chappelle shit is manufactured. I mean, this dude is all just fucking taking private jets to fucking sold out arena gigs or theater gigs. What's he doing? He's headlining Netflix's fucking comedy festival. And everyone's like, they're trying to get rid of fucking Chappelle.
He's too powerful. He's too powerful.
Sound like it. Sounds like he's killing it.
Yeah.
Killing it.
They can't do anything to him.
They could take, if they really were trying to cancel him, they would take all of his specials off. They haven't taken down one special. It's all meant
because
to
it would
get us on the
backfire.
bus.
They know that boomerang back on him. He'll just go somewhere else and be bigger than ever.
Dude, it's all meant to. It's like you look at CNN, right? Who'd they get rid of? Chris Cuomo. Who'd they keep? Don Lemon. This is all cultural Marxism, bro. It's all meant to get us to fight with.
You're not saying Chappelle's on the take, though, right?
I'm not. Listen. I mean, $20 million fucking special. Look who he takes out on the road with him. I mean, I'm not saying it's like. I'm just saying. I mean, dude, I used to watch Dave Chappelle at the Comedy Store cry about how Hollywood wouldn't work with him anymore. I used to watch him do it all. He was bitching about Carlos Mencia. Oh, dude, they basically gave my show to Carlos Mencia. He was fucking crying about it on stage. Now he's just fucking, they're canceling me. I gotta go. I gotta grab my flight to go play the O2 Arena. Don't let him get me. You know, I'm sorry. Everyone called me crazy. I'm not saying Dave Chappelle's a bad guy, but I mean, like, dude, we've seen people get canceled. That does not look like what canceling looks like.
Yeah. Anybody that big been canceled?
I think he's just too powerful on his own. You know, he's not doing movies and shit. He did like one movie or something. He's like, if he was like if his fame was from Hollywood movies, then they'd have more control of him. But he could just do a show. He could do a show anywhere he wants.
Is Netflix a globalist propaganda tool?
I think so.
Okay, he's making 20 mil a fucking Netflix thing.
I mean, someone that you said they canceled was what's his name? The guy that just came back for touching his dick on stage. What's his name? I mean, in the green
Louis
room.
C.K.?
Louis C.K. He came back with his on his own website, and they were still trying to cancel him. That's trying to get canceled.
That's canceled.
That's
bro.
after
That
his
is
on his
fucking
own
canceling.
website and his own thing, you can still find articles were saying he jacked off in the fucking green room.
He
and
had a
you're like,
TV
dude,
show though, and I mean he was still very much
That's
in
still
Hollywood.
cancel. I mean, dude, that's a cancel, bro.
Yeah,
no,
that
he
is.
for sure got canceled. Nobody's
That's a
debating that.
fucking cancel.
I think the power of cancellation is I think people thought there was more power in it, and now people are realizing that if it's harder to cancel people nowadays because people are waking up. And he is like he's a comedian that stands alone.
Dave Chappelle is the greatest comic to ever do comedy.
Absolutely.
I will never take anything away from him on that. He is the GOAT. of all goats.
Greatest sketch comedy show of all time. Nothing's even close.
Greatest. I'm just saying, dude.
I think that he's just so powerful that they just can't fuck with him. You know what I mean? I think they just can't fuck with him, and he does whatever. He goes, you want to make this money that I'm going to make, or I'm going to take it somewhere else? And they go, fuck it, just stay here. We can't do shit. That's what I think.
That's my opinion. I'll stick with him. We'll see what happens. I'm just
Hey,
telling
Sam. Sam, I got a question for you talking about getting people to fight against each other, getting their own people to sort of divide into two tribes, because this is what's been happening a lot up in Canada. And I'm wondering, like, from an American standpoint, I'm trying to kind of get a barometer of how it is down here, but is there like a legitimate two-tier society down here, or is it still in the works? Because it's happening in Canada.
That's a great question, dude. That is a great question. So, like, the question is there a caste system coming into the United States? Is there the super elites and then the rest of us? And I would say it seems like it. It seems really like it, right? Rules for thee, not for me. Okay. How many of these galas, how many of these things, nobody's wearing masks. The only people wearing masks are the fucking, the
waiters.
The waiters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you like,
boys.
Dude, you want talk about fascism? How come Amazon Fresh, Amazon, Walmart, Target all stay open? Yeah, every of these middle class and lower class businesses have to shut down.
Scary, man.
Yeah. I can give you an idea of what it looks like up in Canada, just so that you know, like, this could be what's happening or coming here. Is they've broken it down by vaccination status with the passport, with the vaccine passport. So, like, you can't go into anywhere that isn't like what you're saying, a Target or a Walmart, without showing your vaccine passport. They have it on QR codes on your phone. That's real. That's right now in Canada.
Social
right
credit
now.
score.
Yeah, right now that's happening. And so what they're doing, though, is they can't really enforce it. They don't have enough police or military to enforce it. What they're doing is they're making the small business owners enforce it for them. And the insidious way they've done it in Alberta, anyways, where I was, is something that they call the Restrictions Exemption Program. And what the restrictions exemption program means is that if, as a small business owner, Sam, you own a small business, if you want to have no restrictions for your business, that means you can be full capacity. You don't have to worry about any of these restrictions that we had last year. There's no pandemic anymore. If you want that, all you have to do is make sure that nobody who isn't vaccinated comes into your store. That's all. You just do that and you can do whatever you like. But if you don't want to run the restrictions exemption program, you're going to be limited to 15% capacity. You can only be open between these hours and those hours. And it kills you. But we're going to let you make the choice. So they get the people to police the people into a two-tier society.
Jesus. No, like I was saying, dude, it's all snitch culture, man. Like, they've created a snitch culture of these fucking betas. And this is how they use. This is why I say we got beta dictators all over the place.
It does seem like the COVID narrative is crumbling. It does seem.
But I'm telling you, bro, it's like.
Is it too late though?
But look at this, dude.
Is it
look
too
at
late
where it's crumbling. Look at
to
where
save Canada.
I don't know, man. Like, they don't seem to be backing down. The propaganda has been the same ever since. I still follow the provincial public health page just as a lull, because I'm just wanting to see, like, is anything changing? And it is literally the same infographics they've been using for the last 2 years up there every day. Every day, it's how many people are in the ICU, how many people are unvaccinated, and the stats never change. They've never even gone outside of like 5 percentage points up or down. It's always the vaccinated people who are in jeopardy from the unvaccinated plague rats that are causing this whole thing, and we all just need to get these people vaccinated. There was a thing that Trudeau came out with recently. I don't know what interview it was, but I read it, and then I was like, he didn't really say that, did he? And I found the interview, and he did, where he talks about we need to decide whether we're going to tolerate these people anymore.
Yeah, 100%.
You think Canada's worse than Australia or the other way around?
I would have to be in Australia to know. I mean, the videos coming out of it are pretty abysmal. And I mean, listening to dude on Joe's podcast, it's all gumdrops and rainbows down there and everyone's got it wrong. But I mean, in Canada, it feels like it's not getting any better, and it's definitely just it's a frog in a boiling pot of water, just getting a little hotter, and the frog's like, don't worry about it. You know, we're just gonna be fine. We're gonna get our next booster, and that's it. You know, we got our passport, and that's it. And we're just gonna make sure that only unvaxxed people stay off our flights, and that's it. But it just keeps it's one more thing. Every month is a little bit more, and all of a sudden we're in a dystopia that, like, if I were to lay out exactly all the rules in Canada now to me 2 years ago, I'd be like, fuck, I'd never watch that movie. Nobody would believe that.
Yeah. Now, what's is it the same all across Canada, like you were saying earlier, or there's some cities that like Montreal's the worst, probably
way worse.
Montreal the worst.
Toronto and Quebec, Ontario and Quebec are the worst. But the problem is that's where most of the population is. So usually, as they go, the rest of the country kind of sways with it.
Vancouver is not as bad.
They're pretty bad.
Vancouver's bad. But what about Victoria Island? Are they kind of the same?
I don't know anybody on there to know for sure, but they're part of BC, and BC's laws are provincial, and they seem to follow exactly what Ontario is doing, which is usually like they're a week behind on lockdowns kind of thing. Oh, I see Ontario lockdown. I guess, get ready, guys. It's coming, and it does.
Yeah. Is there any city or county that just doesn't give a fuck, like, at all, that is still, like, they're fighting back?
There was, and I mean, they were scattered all over the place. Where I was in Alberta, there was this one diner. I'm trying to remember what it was called, but it was in like Bodunk nowhere. Like there's 20 people in this town, but it kept making the news because it would stay open specifically against orders too. So they'd have RCMP up there demanding that they shut down, be like, yeah, no, not going to do that. And there was people from all over the province that would drive down there just to have their eggs Benny at this diner. That they never had more business in their whole life. There'd be 300 people outside waiting to get in line to go have a no masked, no vax necessary breakfast.
Yeah, that's
diner.
That sounds like Burbank. Burbank's like that. I live in Sherman Oaks, and it's pretty fucked in most of LA, actually. So, man, I go to Burbank to eat. I go to Burbank for the mall. We just burp for some reason. Whoever's running Burbank, they don't give a fuck about the New World Order. They're like against it. I don't know what it is about Burbank, but they're standing their ground, and they're not going along with the LA County measures.
Yeah, those people are kind of all over. Long story short, though, that guy got arrested, and I don't know if he's out yet. And they've done this to a number of pastors that have done this as well, where they're going to run church at full capacity instead of 15% capacity, and they get arrested. And they've done that to a handful of people up there multiple times, and it's like, what are you willing to put on the line? And it doesn't seem like you get anything for it by the time they get you out. You know what I mean? Like it's still the same now as it was back when they started these lockdowns.
You remember right at the beginning of the lockdown, I think maybe 2 months into, we did a podcast, and I was going fucking ape shit in the beginning. Man. I was like, we're right in the middle of fucking the New World Order. And you know what even notices? They're doing it. They're doing the New World Order right now, and you guys are all worried about a flu. The flu.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. What I want to ask you guys is, what are your thoughts is going to happen? I am optimistic. I 100% think this thing is going to start coming towards spring, because once we get out of flu season, it's going to be real hard. Now, I think you start seeing with the Supreme Court saying that, which God bless, I don't know how that happened, but they shot down this mandate for Joe Biden, which begins the domino, in my humble opinion. by spring, I think things start to change, and you start seeing what we believe will be back to some sort of normalcy. I think you see a push back against vaccine passports and mandates. That's my humble opinion.
Thank God there's Texas and Florida. That's like the promised land. Like if shit keeps getting fucked up in LA and it gets worse, it's nice to know that we could bolt to Texas, we could bolt to Florida. Thank God. If those states didn't exist, I'll even go to South Dakota.
How close
you
are
know,
you
Kristi Noem? Is that the greatest governor ever? When people talking about DeSantis, Kristi Noem that's the greatest governor in my opinion. She never locked down ever.
How
What's
close
that,
are you?
North Dakota?
South Dakota.
Yeah, she should be running for president. You want to beat the Democrats at their own woke game? Run that chick and watch everybody vote for her.
Yeah, Kristi Noem is the shit. She's my favorite.
So
you think votes matter? That's so funny.
Yeah, that's so cute. I got you. What do you guys think? Drew, what do you think? If you had to predict what happens in the future.
Man, I'm usually a really optimistic person. I like to look at the bright side of things, but just from my own experience, man, waiting for the bright side to come never happened for me. I'm still basically running from
darkness.
That never happening for me. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't wait any longer on so many different points of like, it's not gonna, like, in my opinion, in 2020, they did the lockdown. It ended in June. There's no way they would do that again. They had one shot. It didn't work. We're going to try something else next time. Well, that didn't turn out, you know, and like all over and over, it's been that way. So I would love to stay optimistic. Like, honestly, Sam, I feel like Omicron is the death nail in COVID because it's basically a sniffles now. We've mutated this thing towards homeostasis, and it's like, don't have to worry about, we got herd immunity. All the good things that they want, it seems is in Omicron. So if that's the case, and we have this therapeutic pill coming out where you don't need the vaccine, if that's the case, you know, all these little things that I want to grab onto for hope, but my family hangs in the balance. I can't believe them without a plan. So I need to focus on the plan to stay safe in the worst case scenario while still hoping for the best.
Well, wait, how many people do you think have a plan now after the pandemic? Have people probably saved money or didn't see what happened to him where you're like, oh, everything's going to be cool. I'm going to be open up every day. I'm at least going to be able to make rent money. Everyone always thinks I'm going to be able to at least make rent money.
I don't know, man. I think when we look back at this, we're going to look at that generational wealth was destroyed. Businesses that would normally be passed down to children, gone. Yeah. And like the sad thing is, like, everyone will just be happy it's over and not angry that it ever happened.
Well, I mean, do you remember it wasn't even the government that fucked him up, the riots. Remember the 10th planet that got burned down?
Yep.
Yeah, so if it wasn't one thing, it was another thing.
It's not just a loss of wealth, though. It's a transfer of wealth, because what you're seeing is
Big
the
time.
wealthy people are going in and buying up property and houses.
BlackRock is buying up everything with that $1 trillion fucking.
Absolutely, it's a transfer.
Trump put BlackRock in charge of the Fed, bro. I mean, it's different crime families, bro.
I'm hoping for the best, but I'm not counting on it.
LA's never going to go back to normal. You think you're ever going to be able to go to a Dodger game and not show a vaccine?
I think New York will turn before LA does.
I like the governor.
I think the mayor of starting to change. I think
what mayor?
The mayor of I think the mayor of New York City.
What?
He's
the former
We got a new mayor, right?
Yeah,
not the De Blasio. He's
no,
gone.
the new guy. The new guy just said. The new guy just. I don't know. The new guy, the black guy.
Yeah.
He just said, obviously, Supreme Court don't care about health, but I do, so I'm going to ignore that Supreme Court.
We'll see what happens.
Did you hear him say that?
I did not. That makes me sad.
Yeah, he goes, no, we're going to keep these. We're still with the protocols. Go forget about that. He basically said, I'm ignoring the Supreme Court decision. No way. That guy is not. That guy is. They're on the same team. He's on the same. He's on Team De Blasio. Same. Just like they got rid of Andrew Cuomo, but then the girl that's the governor now, she's just as bad.
She's fucking.
But what about all that? He talked all that shit about not being afraid. New York, we didn't get here by being afraid. We're gonna step out of the shadows.
It's why women go nuts with guys, right? Because we say whatever we have to say to get that snatch,
so
right?
Funny. That's so funny,
right? Like that's how politicians are. They say whatever they gotta say to get elected. And once they get in, there's no repercussions. We don't have a no confidence vote.
Oh yeah, here it is.
What does he say?
It says, New York Mayor Eric Adams declares the city must learn to live with COVID.
Yeah, you know what you learned
That's
to live
not
with
the
COVID?
quote I'm talking about.
I know, but he's still, huh?
But do it with swagger. he
Yeah,
says.
come on.
Yeah, that could mean a lot of things. We must learn to live with it. They're like live with these vaccine passports. You know what I mean? That's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Not live with it like it's a cold, and live with it like these vaccine passports, dog. Live with it like that. That's what he's saying.
Well,
all right,
Drew. Where can they find you?
Yeah, man. So, believe it or not, I'm a comedian of my own sorts. I just do it through pictures online. So if you want to check out my memes, they're all jujitsu based, but check out because_jitsu on Instagram. You can check out my personal at drew.weatherhead on Instagram. And if you're into NFTs, definitely check out my collection on OpenSea. It's Ape Shakas, Shaka with a Z at the end. You can still get one from there. There's still people flipping them every day for profit. So I'm happy to be in that world at least. And I love you, Sam. Thanks so much for having me on your show. And you too, Eddie. You're the best.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for coming on. Sorry we yelled the whole time. I'm sure we're gonna
I expect nothing less.
Yeah, dude. Thank you for coming on. Eddie, thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Long Beach, Bakersfield, coming up.
Come get weird. Go to SamTripoli.com.
There you go.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind. Foil Hat.